Hey guys, I just wanted to do a video today. We've had tons of questions come pouring in, and I wanted to give you guys answers to those. There's tons of different questions that everyone's asking, and this video is all about answering those questions, getting them right, getting them answered for you, so this way you have the knowledge that you can scale your business, understand what it is, and how you can get it moving today. So, one of the questions that we have is right out of the gate, how do I scale my business? It's a very great question because it really depends on which type of business you have. But it all comes down to there's three different things that you need in every single business. You need revenue, you need marketing, and you need sales. Everything else is all on top of those layers, but ultimately, those are the three things that you need in order to grow a successful business. The one, if you don't have all three of those things, you're not going to grow. You're not going to scale. So you need to take a look at it. You need to understand what it is that you're missing. Are you missing the revenue? If you're missing revenue, then you need to get out there and market. You need to get out there to make more sales. Is your sales falling short, then maybe you need to focus on perfecting your sales process, understand what that is, understand how to communicate with your clients. Are you just not attracting the right people? That comes back to marketing. So those are the top kind of three things that you need to be successful in running a business. Those are kind of like the top three things in order to run a business: your sales, your revenue, and your marketing. That's a very great question. The next question that I have, that's a very good one as well, is what does it mean to scale up? That's a really good question. It's very similar to the other ones, but all that means is trying to achieve the goals that you set out to achieve. That's different for every single person. It's understandable. It just comes down to what your business is and what it is that it's trying to achieve. If you're trying to achieve millions of dollars in revenue and you're working your way up there, that's scaling up. If you're just trying to expand, that's scaling up as well. So you really need to break down what it is that you're trying to bring to the market or you're trying to optimize for the market as well. Because it all comes down to understanding what the customer wants and how they need it. So if you don't have those things, you're not going to be able to scale effectively. But those are all really good questions. I have them all written down on a sticky note here. So when I'm looking down, that's just because I'm looking at these. Another big one is, what are some qualities of a great leader? I love this question because there's a lot of people out there that think that just, because they own their own business, they are the best leaders in the world. I laugh at that because the best leaders ultimately serve their employees. And what I mean by that is we have a great example of that. We were working with a client uh, for a while, and they wanted to chat with us because they didn't feel like that the service we were doing was up to their standard. So I looked at it. I came in, I looked at what was going on, and I took full responsibility, even though it was one of our employees that was tripping up a little bit. I wanted to make sure that I stood up for my employee, and I also wanted to make sure that it was my fault ultimately because I run the business. I'm the one that needs to take the full responsibility, and then I can always help teach my employees down the road as well. The big thing to look forward if you're looking at hiring employees is not just if they're coachable and trainable and listen well, but you need to as well, because once you start bringing employees on, then it becomes a process of, instead of you working for yourself, you're working for your employees. Every single one of your employees is your boss. You need to be able to fix their problems before you can fix your own. And the nice thing about being your own boss is that you can choose your own hours, you can choose your own work methods, you can choose all of that, but ultimately you're the one that sets the standard inside the business. So if you're not putting forth the work, you're not putting forth the effort, you're not going to grow effectively. Those are a couple of things to really look out for when you're trying to build a business, because a lot of people just want to get into business to make money. It's not necessarily the case. Most of the time, you're going to be working really, really long hours and you're not going to make a lot of money. But what you need to understand is that you get the freedom on the back end in order to grow effectively. Now, if you're trying to be a leader, you're trying to create a business, you're trying to serve other people, you need to understand that you work for your employees. That is the biggest thing that I try to tell every single person. Is we had another issue a while ago where one of our employees was worried about something. I told him I'd be more than happy to pull it up for him, take a look at it, and then when I did at the next meeting that we had, he told me, he was like, "Hey, I wasn't super worried about it." And I was like, "Well, you told me that there was an issue. I wanted to make sure that it was fixed for you, because if they're taken care of, that's what it means for me." So that's one of the big things that we try to strive for, is being a good leader. There's a lot of different qualities that you can have with a leader. I always tell people you have to, you have to be humble. You have to work together. You have to really strive to make it a difference, because you're setting the culture, you're setting the expectations inside the business. So they're looking up to you for it. So you really want to definitely take a look at that, and be humble about it. Understand what it takes to be a leader versus just a follower. Leaders work really long hours, but we also serve our employees, making sure that they are taken care of every single day. Being a leader is not for the faint of heart, so keep that in mind. Another great question that we had was kind of, what are the 4 stages of business growth? There's tons of different stages of business growth. We always look at, there's a startup phase where you're starting, you just start your business. You're super excited. You're really excited about getting into it, really excited about starting it, finding customers, all of this. And then you get into the growth stage, where the growth stage is where you're hiring employees. You're starting to expand a little bit. You're starting to find out that your idea actually works. And then you start breaking down into the conflict stage. And the conflict stage is all about, you're starting to hit these brick walls and you don't know where to go. You're starting to get worried. You're starting to get stressed. Revenue's not coming in the way that you wanted it to. All the ideas that you have just seem to not be working at all. And then the last stage you get into is maintenance. And that's kind of, I always tell people that the big 2 stages that you really want to stay into is growth and conflict. Because if you don't have conflict, you don't really have a business. My business partner and I, we don't get along on everything, but we work together great. We listen to each other, we take each other's ideas into consideration, and we work together to achieve the same goal. Now, if you once you're past that conflict stage, then you get into the growth stage again, and you want to try to stay in that cycle. If you're in the maintenance stage, you're going to be struggling because you're just kind of coasting along, and it's not really effective. You really want to focus on what you're trying to achieve and start chasing those goals. If you're in the maintenance stage, that just means that your business is either dying, but people don't want it anymore, or you just haven't really set hard enough goals to really achieve it. So you really want to focus on what those are and start chasing the bigger goals. That's a very great question, though. By the way, keep it coming. Another great question that we had come in is, can I start a business without no money? You absolutely can. That's a question that we get quite a bit, especially from our coaching side. We actually started our business with 0 money as well. We got our first client, they paid us, and then we got the software. We knew exactly how to do it. That's the big difference, though. If you don't know how to do something, do not sell something that you don't know how to do. Now, if you're selling something and you have a decent idea on how to do it, then you need to start doing the research before you actually do it. But ultimately, you can create a successful business with 0 money, $0 down. It just takes work, takes what they call bootstrapping, and really being successful. It takes time, focusing on your goals, focusing on achieving those goals, and really putting yourself out there. Now, there's a whole bunch of other questions we have on here. We don't have time to get through all of those, but one of the big tips that I wanted to put out to you guys today was really make sure that you are putting yourself out there. You're putting yourself on camera. You're putting yourself out there on content, because the more that you put your content out there, the more that you're going to grow, the more exposure you're going to get. A lot of small businesses we see these days are struggling just because they don't have the right message. It's not necessarily their message that's wrong. They're just not putting themselves out there. They're not figuring out what's working for their business and what's not. So take the time, create the content, put it out there. Even if you just turn on the camera for 5 minutes, talk a little bit, and then turn it off. You need to be able to get yourself out there and really work together to understand what it is that makes it work and what doesn't make it work. But other than that, stick around, stay tuned. We're going to put out a lot more content. We have tons more content coming out. We have tons of reels, tons of shorts, and tons more long form content. If you see behind me, if my camera is probably going to change, but that whiteboard behind me, it's on this side right here, filled with tons of content. Can't wait to show you guys what that is. That's kind of my brainstorming board. I put a whole bunch of cool stuff on there, and then we start shooting content about it. So I'm super excited to show you guys that once it's up and running. But ultimately, as you move forward, put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to show yourself and really grow your business. But until then, keep moving forward, keep staying strong, and if you need anything, reach out. More than happy to assist you whichever way possible.